fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got really outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
3 rounds have been run and won in the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series. And now, this Thursday night, the 26th of March, we turn our views to Fairbury Speedway for round 4. This is the biggest dirt series in the AusNZ sim sphere. Some of the best dirt sim racers from here in Australia and New Zealand and around the world as well, coming to join us tonight for what is sure to be a fantastic night of racing at the Quarter Mile Fairbury Speedway. This is the Fairbury Brawl presented by DM Cinematography. DM Cinematography, of course, the firm responsible for round recap photos. Up on the DM Cinematography Facebook page, in the days following every round, you'll be able to go there and catch some excellent action shots of the racing in this series. My name is Reese Gardiner for SimSpeed TV. Jay Kennedy on cameras, and joining me in the commentary box, Cameron Dance. Cam, we've run 3 rounds of this series, on to round 4, but things are only just getting started.
Yeah, they certainly are. And this is going to be one of the toughest, if not one of the tougher circuits we're going to go to on this schedule. It's not very long. It's very tight. It's very much like a bull ring. So going to be quite exciting to see what happens here, and going to be probably one of the majority of tracks that it's really going to show some interesting line choices.
Yeah, certainly. You got a nice virtual blimp view of Fairbury Speedway here. One of the oldest dirt speedways in the United States and one of the most popular. Was actually voted in to iRacing by fans. So that's the reason why we can enjoy it in laser scan form here on the iRacing service. Quarter mile length, 400 meters long. First opened as a motor racing circuit in 1922, but it's been holding horse racing since 1903. The track reopened in 1947 as a fifth of a mile track, and it was extended to its current quarter mile length in 1990. And that banking, well, you can't see it from the air that well, but once you get down onto the circuit, once we see cars setting laps around there, Cam, that banking is going to be interesting. As you said, line choice is going to be paramount, because the banking actually gets very extreme up near the top.
Yeah, certainly. It's quite similar to Kokomo, which we're going to visit later in the season, where it's quite flat down on the bottom, and then it starts to really angle up as you get further and further up towards that outside wall. So, yeah, quite fascinating racing happens here from what I've seen, especially in some of the wingless stuff as well. So, yeah, really looking forward to and seeing what sort of racing we're going to have tonight.
Yeah, the racing we're going to have tonight is going to determine how the championship standings look after round 4. We're going to take a look at them post round 3. Tim Ryan currently sitting on top of the standings, as he has since the very start of the season, but I'm interested in what Harry Stewart has managed to do. Getting a podium last time out at Eldora Speedway, he's managed to elevate himself to second in the standings from outside the top 5.
Yes, certainly. Eldora was quite a weird and wonderful round with all sorts going on, and sort of brought some people into the picture like Harry Stewart did. So, yeah, it's been quite a fascinating championship so far, and been all sorts happen. So, yeah, round 4 probably going to be no different. We're going to see all sorts of things happen, and possibly going to see someone else come into the picture.
Yeah, one person that did come into the picture was Brenton Hobson there in 6th, outside the top 10 before round 3, but he had a great round at Eldora, managing to get himself level there with Mr. Bradley Oldfield. So Stewart going from P6 to P2, he's going to want to capitalize on this. And also, we can't forget about the likes of Tim Ryan and Alex Bergeron, who you'd consider to be the 2 main players in this series up at the top. But Alex Bergeron in particular hasn't had it go his way 100% of the time.
No, he certainly hasn't, especially in these last few rounds. It's been quite a how do you put it? I guess dramatic and controversial uh, season so far in this championship, with all sorts going on with it, big contact with Tim Ryan or finishes across the line upside down or all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's been quite a fascinating season and one that's been full of ups and downs for Alex, which isn't really too typical of him. He's usually out the front flying the flag and saying "See you later, guys." But yeah, it's been quite a exciting season so far, and he's really had to step up to the plate.
Yeah, he certainly has. There's been quite a few incidents in previous rounds where things have been a bit iffy, bit of contact, and of course, any contact in these sprint cars can certainly ruin your night. Speaking of, before we get into the qualifying session, these 360 sprint cars, well, we say it every round. They're not the most powerful sprint cars available to use. Those would be the 410 cubic inch sprint cars, but these ones with a bit less power. They still have the same amount of downforce, and around a track like Fairbury, that's very tight, very fast. You're going to see drivers really tweaking their wings to try and get the best out of them.
Yeah, certainly. And keeping that momentum up is going to be really key here, especially with such a short track and such short straights. So it's really going to be a matter of just making sure you're not losing any sort of speed and keeping out of the slick stuff so you don't end up spinning your wheels or end up sliding too much. Because with it being so short and obviously, like we're seeing in practice, the driver's running that top side to sort of keep that momentum up, it's really going to probably favor that outside line to begin with. But as the track starts to slick off a little bit, you're probably going to find people are going to start to move down towards the bottom where there's a bit more moisture.
Yes, indeed. 2 minutes until qualifying. So the drivers out there now just getting their calibration laps in, seeing what the track's like. It's nice and clean at the start of this session. But as the night goes on, the track will not be clean. So you are going to see grooves start forming. And mentioning that outside line cam and how advantageous it is, if you're going down to the bottom more towards the end of the night, you do have to really make sure that your chassis is set up appropriately because remember, the bottom of the corners here are completely flat.
Yes, certainly, and that's where adjusting your wings really going to start to come into it a little bit, where you're going to have to sort of try and work out, do you run it really far forward to try and get the turn through the corner, or do you sort of run it quite far back so you can get the grip off the corner? It's going to be one of those things, and you'll probably find drivers might actually adjust it mid-corner so that they can get it that downforce on entry and then obviously the rear grip on exit. So it's going to be quite fascinating to see what people do in terms of setup and who's going to be stronger where, but yeah, really looking forward to seeing what sort of differences we might see.
Already seeing a bit of a groove start to form on that outside line. It's incredibly popular, and you see a couple of drivers also demonstrating the pitfalls of Fairbury. You get a wheel into the wall, just a slight tap, and that is your lap and potentially your heat or feature over. Very unforgiving concrete blocks up there. So it's going to be very difficult for the drivers to sort that out. Right before we go into qualifying, we should probably mention that there is also $10 to win for the driver who wins the A main thanks to ZP Images. There's a $5 bonus prize for the winner thanks to Simpson Safety, Australia, Queensland. And Simpson once again supporting us with a $5 reward for the hard charger, the guy who gains the most positions in the A main. A big thanks to all of our supporters and our partners that are associated with this series, helping to make it what it is.
Yeah, certainly. It would not be possible without everybody that's come on board for the series. So really good to have them on board and supporting the series. It's been fantastic so far, and it's only going to get better from here on in. So yeah, well worth the money for the sponsors that have jumped on board.
Absolutely. And we should also mention further on in the night, after the heats are done, and after we've gone through the alphabet of the D, C, and B mains, we had a pole shuffle in previous rounds, but this time we have a pole knockout. It's going to be all of the top two drivers from the heats racing against each other in one session, and every 2 laps the last car gets eliminated. The final car remaining is going to be our pole sitter. That's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it makes it quite high pressure and intense because you've only got those 2 laps to sort yourself out and know what the track's doing and get yourself all up there and out front. So yeah, really going to be quite fascinating to see who ends up making that and who ends up coming away with the pole position because, like we're seeing at the moment in practice, this track is really evolving really, really quickly.
Yeah, and the pole shootout is going to mean that whether or not you get pole is going to depend on how you outrace your opponents rather than simply out-qualifying them or beating them one-on-one like we do in the pole shuffle. So there is that extra element for the drivers, a little bit of extra high-octane action for you tonight. Some drivers testing that low line just to see where it goes, and it's going to be slide job central, I think, in the heats, which we're going to move on to right away. So qualifying first, though, every driver having 2 laps on their own to set a representative time. It's going to be interesting to see who gets the fastest time here. It's going to determine how the field is organized in the heats, but pace at the end of it doesn't determine much in dirt racing.
No, it doesn't, and it's one of those things you can be quick over one lap, but if you can't manage the way the track's forming and keep on your heels, it really does end up falling away to you at the end of the day. So yeah, it's all about adapting and making sure you know what's going on around you and what the track's doing because you got no chance otherwise.
Certainly not. Dale Jordison, one of the first drivers out on track, really testing that low line, but using the high line to begin his first lap. Trent Gosley, another driver we should look at. He's had some great form in past rounds, but luck has not always fallen his way, contact and incidents. So be interesting to see what we get from him. Current fastest time is Ryan Harris for Slick Sim Sports, 11.117. But Tim Ryan did a time in practice, a 10.9. So we can expect that kind of pace to start being seen towards the end of the session.
Yeah, you'll start to see the quicker guys come out and put their gauntlet down and show what they've really got. But that said, there is an invert for the heats as well. Top 8 get inverted, so it's really going to be quite a little bit of a mixed bag of results here. But at the same time, you do have to focus on those points in qualifying. So we'll see what people decide to do and what might happen. But so far, Ryan Harris is still yet to be topped.
Yeah, Ryan doing very well there up the top. How is Joel Berkeley going to do for Slick Sim Sport? He was a driver that finished second in round points in round 2 at Volusia Speedway Park. So he's got some form to back himself up. 11.4 for his last lap. So not quite sure where that is going to put him specifically, but still looks like some all right pace there from Berkeley. He might have to work on it a little more.
Yeah, possibly trying to counter that in top 8 invert for the heats, but who knows. But Alex Bergeron coming through the final 2 corners now to come across the line. What is he going to lay down?
There we
Ends up
go.
going straight to P1.
Wow. So an 11-1 for Alex Bergeron there. We've also got to wait for Tim Ryan. He really likes to do his qualifying laps right at the end of the session when the track has been grooved in, so to speak. Hayden Cardwell, meanwhile, in car 41, third in points last round at Eldora. We got a whoa, dear. Oh, that's not going to work for him. Big crash. I feel like that might be his qualifying over. He might not be able to get back out.
Yeah, possibly not going to be able to get back up by the looks of it, although there is not a lot of time. So yeah, he probably won't be able to get out. But Tim Ryan on a lap now, so we'll see what he's going to end up doing.
Yes, indeed. So Tim Ryan sorting out the track and looking very smooth through the corners here. It's a great view of Fairbury from this perspective, and you see just how tight of a track it is and how much you have to push the very limit of grip all the way up there at the top. First lap time is going to come in pretty soon for Tim Ryan as he makes his way through this corner, and it's 11.3 for that run for Tim. It's not going to be anywhere near P1 for him.
You're not actually that quick for Tim, which is surprising by a lot of means. And he did actually hit the wall in his first lap, so do wonder if he could have possibly gone quicker on that first lap. But nevertheless, the top 8 invert going to really spice this up.
Yeah, certainly will. It's something that is going to be quite interesting coming into these heats. And Heat 1 is now live. And here is the grid. Vince Romeo and Tyler Bish are going to share row 1. Dylan DeBono and Jock Goodyear starting from the second row. Damian Rasmussen and John Schultz on row 3. That's an interesting matchup. John Schultz with some great form in the past. Hayden Cardwell in 7th. Alex Bergeron running P1 starts 8th for this first heat. Damon Mulqueen and Scott Butler round out the top 10, and our 11-car field is rounded out by Hayden McCandy. So this is going to be quite the interesting heat to watch because we do have the likes of Bergeron and Goodyear starting further back. And Bergeron, we know, is a driver who, once he gets out in front, there's rarely anything stopping him, but he's got to put some work in to try and get to the front of this heat.
Yeah, it certainly does, and there's not a lot of room to really do that around this tight little bull ring circuit. 8 laps for the heat, so not too long to do it either. So he's really got to get his elbows out and try and get his way through the field to try and make the feature straight away. Top 3 straight to the feature, so not a lot of positions to get through, but a lot of work to do for Alex.
Yeah, so that third place is going to be the cutoff position, and it's going to be the one that most eyes will be on. The top 2 from each heat go into the pole knockout, just so we know for future reference tonight. So there's a couple of laps behind the iRacing pace truck for these guys, and it'll be interesting to see how these guys take the start because it is a very flat starting area. And the pace truck goes into the pit entry halfway around the back straight. That's how tiny this track is, only 400 meters in length. So Vince Romeo bringing it down to the inside. The green flag flies for Heat 1. We are racing at Fairbury Speedway. And Dylan DeBono already putting himself up into second. And there's a crash in the background. Damon Mulqueen and Damian Rasmussen coming together. And John Schultz having a bit of dramas as well, as we've got a car on its roof. Scott Butler has managed to find the fence in all of that. But looking like Romeo looking very comfortable up the front. Alex Bergeron already up to third and looking pacey. Look at the slide jobs.
Yeah, big slide job from Alex to try and get another position, but currently in that top 3, and all he needs to do is sit there. But Jock Goodyear really starting to pressure him, and that's a mistake from second place.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, that's going to be Tyler Bish.
Jock Goodyear going up the inside with a slide job on the car of Alex Bergeron. Contact between the two. Bergeron's going to get on through now. Hank Cardwell going to look up the inside of Alex Bergeron, and Bergeron in the fence and up and over. So he is gone for the time being, but Jock Goodyear still hammering on. And Vince Romeo, and now Cardwell's in the wall. So more and more people start to fall away from this obviously concrete wall. And Jock Goodyear in the wall again, just consistently clattering the outside wall at the moment, and Bergeron's still parked on the outside of the wall again. Battle at the moment for the lead, really close. Vince Romeo and Dylan DeBono fighting it out for the final transfer spot, and it looks like DeBono is just going to get the position in the end. So the order for that heat result will be Jock Goodyear followed by John Schultz and Dylan DeBono. Your top 3 going through to the A main. Vince Romeo in 4th, followed by Hayden McCandy, Damon Mulqueen, and Damian Rasmussen in 6th and 7th. Before we go back to the rest, Alex Bergeron, Tyler Bish, Hayden Cardwell, and Scott Butler. Heat 2 about to come up now with Thomas Mitchell starting on pole, with Joel Berkeley joining him on the front row, Aston Hurley and Bob King on row 2. Row 3, Ethan Bastian and Bradley Sanders, followed by Harry Stewart and Ryan Harris on row 4. Row 5, Cruz McVie and Jason Nygaard. Running up the field will be Bradley Minshall. So as the pace truck is getting ready to pull away, it's going to be quite fascinating to see who comes away with this. It's been all about keeping out of that concrete wall so far and really not ending up with any issues. Joel Berkeley probably the favourite to take this one, as well as Bob King, but a couple of drivers further back, Harry Stewart, Cruz McVie, Ryan Harris, all well within a chance of possibly getting this, including Bradley Sanders.
Yeah, hello everyone. Reese has had an internet dropout, so I'll jump in and help you out for a little bit. But yeah, 100% right. It's pretty tough heat actually. When you look at who's in here, championship standing wise, there's actually quite a few guys that you could say would be championship contenders as well, or top 5 runners. So this is going to be a really interesting heat. Looking forward to seeing how it goes. And only 3 going through out of guys in this field. You could say that there's 9 guys in this 11-car field that should go through. So this is going to be a very, very hectic heat. Looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Bring it on.
Yeah, certainly. Green flag in the air, and everybody is well on the way. And Jobbik with a solid lead off the start so far. Everybody's scrolling for this. A couple of cars contact further back. Ethan Bastian, Cruz McVie, the likes all that on further back. But everybody clean for the time being compared to Heat 1. So far, so good.
Really clean start, especially when you compare to Heat 1 at Berkeley. Great jump. Bob King did a good job too, but Harry Stewart hasn't been able to move through the field as much as I would have expected him to do. He's actually dropping positions at the moment, is Stewart, in that number 11 car. So he's going backwards through the field, but the rest of the field up the front is getting very heated, especially that battle for 3rd and 4th. That final transfer spot is well and truly on between Mitchell and Sanders right now.
He's really trying to pressure the car of Mitchell at the moment, but just can't quite find a way past. It's very much about running that high line right up against the outside wall, and some people starting to somewhat clatter it. Car in the background just slightly missing it. Jason Nygaard that was, but that battle for 3rd really starting to come into it. But Bob King's also closed that gap up to Joel Berkeley as well.
Has definitely got closer in the front. That battle for 3rd is now between 3, because Aston Hurley's closed in very, very quickly. A little bit of contact between he and Sanders, but Hurley comes off worse, and that's going to help Bradley Sanders, and probably will help Mitchell the most, as it's well and truly on for the lead, because the slide job from Berkeley, slide job from King, but not able to pull it off. Joel Berkeley will take the checkered flag.
Yeah, great drive by Berkeley, and 3 wide across the line between Harris, Hurley and Harry Stewart, but Harris will indeed get the position ahead of Harry Stewart, but Aston Hurley will hold off all 3 for the moment.
So Berkeley, King and Mitchell go through straight into the A main. Berkeley and King into the pole shuffle as well. Sanders, Hurley, Harris, Stewart, McVie, Mitchell, Nygaard and Bastian will all have to do it the long way going through the alphabet. And with the competitiveness of the field tonight, I don't think you want to be doing that. It's going to be a tough ask for anyone to come through the alphabet tonight.
Yeah, it certainly will, especially with the way this short track's starting to show what it's capable of in terms of racing. It's really going to be tough and really all about making sure you can keep it out of that concrete wall and get through put yourself in a nice starting position. So yeah, really going to be a tough ask for those going through the alphabet soup, the likes of Bergeron and those drivers. But yeah, Heat 3 about to come up and look like a pretty solid field.
Yeah, once again, another solid field. Steinhauser and Norman on the front row with Tim Ryan. Yeah, probably the positive side to having a poor qualifying is you'll start from 3rd in this heat, but you'll lose out in championship points. Lucky Beattie alongside him. James Rice and Dale Jordison, Clayton Davies, Lewis Hewitt on row 4. Row 5 is Sean Wilson and Brad O'Brien. And row 6, 1 car out on row 6 being Jacob Dixon. Once again, another solid heat.
Yes, certainly. Very few, very quick drivers, few that could possibly put their hand in the mix of it all. But yeah, it'll be quite fascinating to see what happens here and whether Ryan can come through and whether Hewitt can come through as well, or whether we might see some movers and shakers.
Yeah, exactly. I think this could be a very, very mixed up field, and would expect it to be very, very much 3 or 4 wide coming into turn 1 and 2. Right on cue. Have a look at how spread they go so quickly. Bit of a wreck in the background. That's the number 3 car, Jacob Dixon, but the rest of the field continue on, and it is the 96 car of Nathan Norman that has the advantage across the line the first time.
And Tim Ryan really running that outside line in 3rd place on the bubble at the moment, but he's just driving around the outside of everyone at the moment, up in 2nd place. Corey Steinhauser trying to run the bottom, but just no momentum at the moment, and he's going to be swallowed up by Lockie Beattie and Dale Jordison if he's not careful at this rate.
Yeah, and just also seeing that Lewis Hewitt's had some issues in the back of the field. Big slide job there from Tim Ryan, and it's worked. So Tim Ryan takes the lead, but Lewis Hewitt running last. Now, that's a bigger surprise than Tim Ryan taking the lead for sure.
Certainly is. Did have an incident on lap 1 with a couple of cars, and then had an issue with an incident on lap 2 as well with the car of, I believe that was Clayton Davies, and ended up actually rolling it in turn 3 and 4 a few laps ago. So not the best run for Lewis in this heat, but nevertheless he should be able to come back. And big moment there for Lockie Beatty coming through the back straight, but slide drop into turns 3 and 4 and just pull it off ahead of Nathan Normanby's in the fence.
Wow. He got that move done too, and then he's done that. So unfortunate for him. And that would have put him into the A main straight off the back. Now he's going to have to do it through the D main. Come all the way through. So tough ask. So Nathan Norman will hold on to that final transfer position. But Tim Ryan is just too good in these heat races. Takes another heat race win.
Yeah, certainly does. And James Rice just edges out Sean Wilson at the line as well to end up taking P4. So really, really close racing so far in these heats, and it's been pretty fantastic all in all.
Yeah, it has been some great racing so far with Tim Ryan and Dale Jordison going into the pole knockout tonight with Nathan Norman alongside in the A main. James Rice, Sean Wilson, Clayton Davies, Jacob Dixon, Lewis Hewitt, Brad O'Brien, Lockie Beatty, and last place was of Corey Steinhauser, who started on pole, did not finish the race. Hopefully we've got Reese back.
Yeah, hopefully so. I apologize for that dropout, everyone. Apparently, my internet connection has decided it's not going to be nice to me tonight. But we move on to Heat 4. Hayden Brown starting on the front row with Devin Butts alongside, Bradley Oldfield and Clint Shane Smith off row 2. Phelan and Castagna share row 3. Gavin Sadler versus Trent Gosley off row 4. That will be an interesting matchup. Kieran Redpath and Zach Howell round out your 10-car field for this heat. So, unfortunately, I completely missed out on the second heat, Cam. So it's not. So I'm jumping back in a little bit in the hot seat here. So this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's been some fantastic racing so far, and been interestingly enough quite one-lined. Everybody seems to be running around the top against that concrete wall. We've seen a few incidents of people just smacking the outside wall, but with green flag racing and pretty good jump here from the pole man of Hayden Brown.
Oh my goodness, but have a look at the slide job there from Bradley Oldfield right into position 1. He's immediately facing pressure from Devin Butts as we see cars hitting the wall, and there goes Devin Butts to the lead, trying the slide job again, but he's overcooked it a little. This is quite the competitive field. Everyone's still right together, only on the second lap.
Yeah, Oldfield and Butts really going at it for the moment, and they're nearly 3 wide as well with the car of Travis Castagna also getting involved 3 wide into 2, 3 and 4, and there's a bit of a check up through the back as well.
Oh, a little bit of contact between P2 and P3. That's, oh my goodness, big crash there. Bradley Oldfield absolutely smashed into the wall. So he's from P2 now to dead last. So Devin Butts no longer facing that kind of pressure from him, but now he's got Travis Castagna really pressuring him for that lead. Gavin Sadler trying to get up there too as our leaders battle.
Yeah, Castagna really trying to make the slide job work, but just can't quite get it done. There's a little bit of grip in the mid-track.
Yeah, the car on its side. That was Clint Smith, unfortunately, involved in an incident. And Travis Castagna barely just holding the lead there, and there we go. That is the lead secured for Travis because Devin Butts getting up into the wall, and Gavin Sadler has managed to get second place as well. So right at the very end, Devin Butts falling from P1 to P3, but he keeps it well enough to get into the A main. Travis Castagna is going to come home there to take the win. Gavin Sadler in second. They're through to the pole shootout. And Devin Butts into the A main.
Yeah, really, really exciting race, that one, and was really all about making sure you didn't know, well, you knew where the grip was and didn't end up putting in the wall like Butts did, unfortunately, from the race lead. So good job by Castagna to end up taking that one away, but Heat 5 is on.
Yeah, certainly is. We're into our 5th heat. And this is going to be the final heat of the night. Matt Reed starting on pole position. Brenton Hobson joins him on the front row. Hayden Veld starting from position 3 with Carl Hoffmans joining him. Danny Vassell and Callum Davidson start from row 3. Josh Harm down in 7th. He had a very bad round last time out at Eldora, hurt his position in the championship. He'll be wanting to make good from this one. Caden Brown, Luke Sampson, and Alex Gouveia rounding out your 10-car field for this final heat of the night.
Yeah, quite the field in this one. It's anyone's guess as to who's going to take this one out. You've got the likes of Matt Reed, Hayden Fell, Brenton Hobson, Danny Vassell, Callum Davison, Josh Harm, Caden Brown, all sorts of drivers who could possibly put their finger in the pie and steal this one away. But nevertheless, it's been a tough ask to try and pass people, but we've seen plenty of passing, so it is indeed possible.
Yeah, it certainly is, but you got to have courage, you got to have a little bit of bravery to do that. So there we go, Matt Reed controlling the field, the green flag flies, and away he goes. It was actually a slightly better start there from Brenton Hobson, but Reed on the inside is putting the power down and securing that race lead. But have a look at the yellow car of Hayden Veld. He is going to really get up into this battle for the top 3. Hobson with some contact there versus Carl Hoffmans, and he's been put into the wall.
Bit of bouncing going on for Hobson against the wall and cars as well around him, so fortunate for Hobbo there to end up where he is. And there's a car spun out.
Yeah, Hoffman's unfortunately losing all that momentum in the mid-corner, hit by another car. He's going to have to go all the way to the back of the grid here as well. But Matt Reed up in front is having a very comfortable time. Brenton Hobson starting to fall back here. He is, well, he's back up into 6th place and trying his best, but no! He's managed to get himself into another car. And as a result of that, I think that's going to be his night almost over.
Yeah, that's going to be a race over for Hobbo, unfortunately. He was doing so well to possibly recover and then just unfortunately made that mistake. So really not the most ideal start to the night for him. But nevertheless, this top 3 has really been quite an interesting one. Second place car of Danny Vassell from P5, really good job there. And then Caden Brown started closing on this top 3 as well from P8.
Yeah, quite interesting to see, but he's not going to have time to do it. They've just gotten the white flag. Matt Reed still holding that lead. And interesting to note that these drivers are going all the way down to the bottom. They don't want to use that top anymore. No grip up there. Matt Reed takes the win. Danny Vassell's going to join him in the pole shootout, and Hayden Veld gets himself a ticket into the A main. But now we move on to the alphabet. We are going to start with an E main of 10 laps here. So it's going to be quite... Oh, no, sorry. My apologies. Got my details wrong. E main has been skipped. So we are going straight to the D main after this as we look at the race results from that final heat. This D main is going to be 10 laps in length, and this is going to give a bit of a second chance for these guys to try and get into the A main. Matt Reed starting from pole, Danny Vassell in P2. Hayden Veld and Caden Brown are going to start from 3rd and 4th. Josh Harm and Carl Hoffmans. Our apologies. A problem with the overlays. Bradley Minchell and Brad O'Brien are starting on the front row for this one. Clint Smith and Brenton Hobson on row 2. Hayden Cardwell and Jason Nygaard from the 3rd row. Lockie Beattie, Kieran Redpath, Callum Davidson, and Scott Butler. Rounding out the top 10, Ethan Bastian and Corey Steinhauser, your last 2 cars in this field. So, Cam, running through the alphabet. It's one of those things that's intrinsic to dirt racing and the heat structure that we've got. The top 2 from this go into the C main, and it's going to be top 2 again in the C main that go to the B main. So if you want to try and get yourself into the feature, you have to finish 1st or 2nd in these first couple of mains.
Yeah, you certainly do, and it makes it all that much more difficult and much more intense, especially if you're a quicker driver starting a little bit further down the pack like Cardwell, Nygaard and Hobson. So we'll see what happens, but regardless, it's going to be really good racing. Green flag's in the air, we're underway.
Well, here we go. Bradley Minshall leads the way into turn one. Brenton Hobson already trying to get himself up there into a podium position. He has succeeded. There's been some jostling back in the pack. Couple of drivers out of position. Clint Smith now challenging for the lead of this one, trying up the inside. And Jason Nygaard, you should take a look up there up the top. He is making that top line work really well in 1 and 2. He's getting a great run down the back stretch. Hobson then down to 4th place. It looks like our top 3 are in a bit of trouble here. Nygaard to P2 now.
Yeah, the top side's really coming to its own now. The cushion has a lot of grip and a lot of momentum at the moment, so seems to be the place to be at the moment, despite all that slick around it. But nevertheless, plenty of battles going on, and especially for that 5th place and through the back between 3 cars of Hobson, Clint Smith, and also Kellen Davison.
Yeah, that's a great battle that's happening between these guys. Davidson trying his best to get up there into that top 3. Bradley Minshall is facing a lot of pressure from all of these guys, but Hayden Cardwell and Jason Nygaard, your top. Oh my goodness, I think I might have seen a couple of cars come together there. Bradley Minshall on his roof, along with Ethan Bastian. So that is not a great start for Ethan, especially after the form he had in previous rounds. And it's on for the lead now because Jason Nygaard and Hayden Cardwell have come together. It doesn't matter what order they finish in. Both of them are going to make it through into the D main at this stage, so they can't afford to get in each other's way.
Yeah, certainly. I've just seen Davison in the wall, battling with Hobbo and making contact as well. So those two still scrapping it out. Hobbo really trying to make a recovery of this, but not going to be enough for the time being. But Hayden Cowell all over the back end of Jason Nygaard here. He's going to throw a slide jump in the 3 and 4. He does, but he's not quite going to get the run off the corner, and Jason Nygaard is just going to edge him out.
Oh, only just. What a finish there between our top 2 and Brenton Hobson. Ultimately finishing 4th there, so his night is now over, as is everyone outside the top 2. So Jason Nygaard and Hayden Cardwell are going to join our field in the C main coming up very, very soon. Callum Davidson, Brenton Hobson, Lockie Beattie, Kieran Redpath, and Scott Butler finishing there. And honestly, Corey Steinhauser, Clint Smith, and a couple of others, Ethan Bastian among them, would have been hoping for better from that. So we say goodbye to them for now, but we move on into the C main. This is going to be a 12-lap race. The field as follows: Carl Hoffman starting from pole, Damian Rasmussen alongside him, Harry Stewart. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do from 3rd place versus Jacob Dixon. Zach Howell and Luke Sampson sharing row 3. Alex Bergeron starting from P7. Look out for him to make moves towards the front, as with Cruz McVee in 8th place. Lewis Hewitt and Bradley Oldfield rounding out the top 10. And, of course, our final 4 cars, Alex Gouveia, Tyler Bish, and Jason Nygaard and Hayden Cardwell, your top 2 from the D main. So quite a packed field here, but we've got many guys in the midfield towards the back who we should see challenging for the front.
Yes, certainly. There's going to be big shakers and movers with the likes of Nygaard, Cardwell, Hewitt, Bergeron, all starting in that mid to rear pack. So look out for those guys, and they're really going to have to be careful because they can't afford to end up in an incident like we've seen in a few of these races so far that have been at turn 1, where everybody sort of checks up and is trying to scrabble for position, but ends up being an incident. So yeah, they'll have to be careful and place their car very carefully not to end up in an incident, as they really aren't going to want to do that.
Yeah, a lot of potential for incidents here at Fairbury, an incredibly tight track and one that really changes depending whether you're running the top or the bottom. So Carl Hoffmans is going to lead the field away here as we go green in the D main, and that was a bit of a messy start there up the front with Damian Rasmussen falling there to P4 and Harry Stewart immediately to the lead of this one. He has wasted no time getting up to the top.
Certainly hasn't, and Bergeron and Hewitt have wasted no time. He's trying to make their way through the field as well. Bergeron already up in 4th, and now Cardwell also up in 5th and 1st. Hewitt 6th. They're all trying to jostle for position, not knowing what line to take. A couple of cars coming together, a couple over.
Yeah, a couple over there. Alex Gouveia and Damian Rasmussen finding their roofs. Damian starting from P2, he will be very unhappy with how that's eventuated for him, but it's really on now in this field for position 3. Alex Bergeron holding the outside line. Oh my goodness, I think I might have seen Carl Hoffmans find the wall.
Yeah, he ended up spinning there into turn number 3 and facing the wrong way. Nygaard just missed him as well, so really lucky there for Nygaard. But this battle going on for second place actually between Bergeron, Cardwell and Dixon really starting to heat up, and Hewitt's in there as well.
Yeah, so all of these guys battling for that transfer spot into the B main. It's only going to be the top 2, so they really need to fight hard. Bergeron nailing that throttle, running the inside line as much as he can. It looks like he might have secured second place for the moment, but no. That's going to be Jacob Dixon getting that nice run around the outside. Now Bergeron and Cardwell side by side down the front stretch. This is excellent racing.
Yeah, it certainly is. They're going toe-to-toe. Are these two drivers really, really good drivers, and both know each other very well, so they know the limits of each other. But Cardwell really trying to make that second place happen, but at the moment that upside is just a little bit too strong for him with Dixon running that high side.
Yeah, you can see how much lock Cardwell's putting in there. Oh my goodness, car 3 of Jacob Dixon trying his best to keep it out of the wall there. Looks like Cardwell has got him, but oh my goodness, he's going to try and come back through in the middle of turn 1, but no. Cardwell securing P2 there as we get the white flag. Alex Bergeron might just miss out on the feature here. Harry Stewart is going to come round the final couple of turns and grab the win here. And it's going to be Hayden Cardwell joining him. So they move on. That is big.
Yeah, that's big for the championship. Bergeron missing the feature for the first time this season so far, and he is not going to be happy with that whatsoever. And that's a lot of points that he's lost as well.
It certainly has. We should remember and remind you all that that points are gained throughout all of the racing throughout a night, not just the feature. So Alex Bergeron already in third place in the championship. He's going to slip down a bit thanks to that. So big shame for all the guys below our top 2. We say goodbye to them for tonight. But then it's time to move into the B main, the last race before we get to the pole shootout. This is how the grid is going to look. Vince Romeo is going to start on P1. Bradley Sanders joins him on the front row. James Rice and Zach Fellon in 3rd and 4th. Caden Brown and Hayden McCandy start in 5th and 6th. Aston Hurley, a guy that we've seen put on some great shows in the past, starting from 7th. Sean Wilson from 8th. Trent Gosley and Josh Harm rounding out the top 10. 16 cars in this one. Damon Mulqueen and Ryan Harris are going to share row 6, with Clayton Davies and Hayden Brown taking up the second last row. And our C main winners, Harry Stewart and Hayden Cardwell, rounding out our 16-car field. I'll tell you what, if Stewart can fight through to take the win in this one, that'd really be something.
Yeah, it certainly would, and he's showed some very good potential. Even like we saw on the championship points, jumped a lot of positions in the last round at Eldora, so we'll see what he can do here in this B main. Top 5 go through, so not so much pressure to try and get to the front of the field, but every position counts at the end of the day towards the grids in the A main, so definitely be trying to at least win this if he can't get at least the top 5.
So we will be focusing on that 5th place transfer spot towards the end. It would be great if we could get a big fight for that. Pace truck is in. Vince Romeo controlling the field as we go green for the D main. 14 laps is go, and already we're getting some contact back in the pack. Bit of jostling there, and a disadvantage for Hayden McCandy. He's going to go towards the back of the field, but our front pack is looking pretty clean so far. Romeo holding that middle line, going low on the exit, but Bradley Sanders, along with Zach Fellon, working that high line.
Yeah, there's 2 lines currently working in. The bottom seems to have a little bit of grip at the time being, but that outside is starting to really come back a little bit with the momentum, and Fallon's in the wall. No, Sanders, sorry, is in the wall there, but manages to keep it going. Car really spinning out. That was, I believe, Damien Johnston. Thank David, sorry.
Yeah, and Bradley Sanders in the wall even further. This has gone absolutely bottom up for him. And Trent Gosley getting himself up into a top 5 potential position. Clayton Davies and Josh Harm are chasing these guys down for that transfer spot.
Yeah, they're really having their work cut out for them to try and recover something out of this with not many laps to go. Actually, we're just under halfway, so laps really starting to count down real quick. So they're really going to try and figure out what they can do to try and gain some positions here.
Trent Gosley in fourth, Aston Hurley and Zach Fellon along with him there. And oh my goodness, I thought I saw a bit of an incident for Caden Brown, who is vaulting himself up into the lead of this one. Got a great run despite that wall hit, and now he's got the inside line, working it very well, the challenge for the lead of this race. Oh, bit of contact, he's around. He's having to go beneath the berm. He re-enters, but that has messed up the drivers in front of him a bit. Trent Gosley doing very well to navigate his way through that. So now this battle for 5th place has got, what, 5 cars involved?
And 4 wide through turn 1 as well. It's all going off. There's just everybody's involved. Zach Fellon, Vince Romeo, Aston Hurley, Caden Brown, Trent Gosley, Josh Harmon, even Clayton Davies as well. All involved, and Damon McQueen not too far behind. It's really going off, and anybody's guess as to who's going to come away with this, but Josh Harmon's running that outside line as best he can.
3 laps to go then. Caden Brown holding off that 5th place position. Josh Harm trying to get the run down the inside. He's using a line just a little bit below the top, but Josh is not getting the run that he needs. He needs to get that slide job. Caden Brown getting into the wall. That's brought him back a little bit. Harm has lost a position. White flag then for Zachary Fellon. Oh, and he's trying his best to hold on to that lead versus Aston Hurley, but the slide job from Aston. How is this going to turn out? It's going to be Zach Fellon taking victory, and that top 5 battle was absolutely huge. It was only a few tenths at the end. Caden Brown holding off Josh Harm for that 5th spot.
Yeah, just did enough in the end to hold off Josh Harm, and Harmon was a little bit gutted that he didn't quite make the A main there, but nevertheless, really, really good racing between those top 5 the whole time.
Absolutely was. That was, I can only hope that the feature gives us racing like that. So that's the first bit of racing done for the night. We still have the A main to come very soon, but first we have the pole shootout. And it will take a little bit for this to get organized. It's going to be 8 cars, I believe, in this one, fighting for this pole position. And this is a field that I wasn't quite expecting. No Tim Ryan, no Alex Bergeron.
There's a few faces you wouldn't expect to be in here in this little shootout. You got the car of Castagna, Reed, Schultz, King, Jordanson, Sadler, Vassell, and Jock Goodyear as well. Just names you sort of wouldn't expect to be up here, but clearly have done exactly what they needed to do, which is keep out of the concrete wall and just get the results.
Yeah, exactly right. And that is the main thing at the end of the day. So these drivers will form up manually, and then they'll be let go for a race between them. And every 2 laps, the last car running will be eliminated. The final car remaining after everyone else has been eliminated is going to be your pole sitter, and they will get to choose whether or not they start on the inside or the outside for the A main.
Yeah, it's going to be actually quite interesting to see what the winner ends up choosing for starting lane when we get to that A main, because this track is really slick at the moment, and it's no real advantage to being up top or being on the bottom at the moment, so it'll be quite fascinating to see what happens.
Yeah, you can see from that aerial shot the groove is going across much of the width of the track. That more lightly coloured clay down the bottom and through the mid corner here in the last couple of turns is where cars have not been running for the most part. So here we go, green flag for the pole shootout, and it wasn't the best start from Jock Goodyear. Joel Berkeley getting the better jump, and he has got that lead, but we'll have to be focusing on the rear of the field as they come to complete this first lap. The guys at the back only have 1 lap left to sort themselves out before the final car running is eliminated. Currently, the last car is Bob King, and oh my goodness, it's going to be Tim Ryan! Tim Ryan getting eliminated at the end of this. So he is not going to have a shot at pole.
You're not quite sure what's transpired there, but he's made contact with the car of, I believe, Travis Castagna and ended up spinning out. So that's a really weird one and really unfortunate for Tim there.
I have to correct myself from earlier. I said Tim Ryan wasn't in this, but obviously I was mistaken. And there you go, modem simulation replay of what happened to him to result in that. So he's starting on the back foot coming into the A main. He will start no higher than 10th. So the field is going to form back up again, and we'll go racing for another 2 laps. And we will decide who gets eliminated next. Joel Berkeley and Jock Goodyear currently sitting in the box seat. They look like the most likely for pole. But as this field reduces, you're going to see the competition rise even further. So we go racing again for another 2 laps. And a look at that jostling. 2 cars coming together. That's going to be Dale Jordison and Matt Reed interlocking wheels. So Jordison now is going to be the one in trouble.
Yeah, he certainly is. Although contact between himself and Matt Reed, so really not getting too happy there.
No, certainly not. And with that, it looks like Reed is going to be the last car to cross the line there, and he is going to be out. So that contact between Jordison and Reed, I feel like they might be having words after that.
I imagine they will be, as that was a not too pleasant slide job by Jordison. So possibly stewards have decided that Jordison will get a penalty, actually, so Reed will go through.
All right, so race control have decided that Matt Reed... apparently Reed is out as well, so that's going to make things a little complicated there. I think a couple of guys further down in the field just gained a few free grid starts.
Yeah, imagine they would.
Spots, I should say.
Yeah, man. Oh no, Jordison is actually back out, so he will continue. Not quite sure what's happened there.
Okay, so we'll have to wait and confirm what's gone on there behind the scenes. But we are going green again for this next round of the pole shootout. And currently in the box seat, Travis Castagna in last place. But lots of jostling through the pack. Jock Goodyear acting as the cork in the bottle here as they go potentially 4 or 5 wide for that 3rd place. These guys don't want to get into each other. They don't want to make contact, because one little bit of contact, you're sent straight to the back of the grid. And it looks like these guys have actually broken away from Castagna, who is out. Looks like Castagna actually pulled over halfway through the 2nd lap, so it's decided that one early, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has. So Jordison still managing to end up going through after that little bit of a debacle, but nevertheless, this racing's actually been really good at the front of the field, and it's going to be quite heated as they start to count down the drivers left on track.
Yeah, there's only 7 cars remaining now in this session, so 14 laps worth of racing to decide our pole sitter. They'll be forming up again very, very shortly. So Bob King has managed to find his way up to the front end of this, along with Danny Vassell. Joel Berkeley and Jock Goodyear now assuming the 2nd row. Bringing it around, the throttle sets to 100%, and Danny Vassell already in the wall in turn 1, and he's out of that one.
Yeah, up and over and into the wall. Danny Vassell, unfortunately, gonna be ending this one early on his own fault as well. And Joel Berkeley's actually fallen back quite a bit as well.
Yeah, he has. He got a very big slide on, struggling a bit with the rear end grip of his car, I think. He's losing a lot of pace at the moment, not maintaining that momentum. Oh, is he out of fuel? Not quite sure about that. But either way, has put himself all... No, it's going again. That's very weird. We're not quite sure what... I think Berkeley might have just lifted off because he knew that the previous car was out. The next round begins once again. 6 cars left, and there goes Jock Goodyear with a great run on the inside to take the lead. King immediately hits back with the slide job. I think these guys are going to be trading spots for a little bit. But currently in the box seat is Dale Jordison. He is up at the rear of the grid. And he's only got 1 chance left here, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it done. So Jordison out of the pole shootout, but he manages to secure himself a 6th place start for the A main.
Yeah, he certainly has, which isn't actually a bad thing around here, with it being such a short track and a little bit difficult to overtake. So P6 isn't all that bad of a position, but this is going to be quite interesting with Green again and Joel Berkeley back to the front of the field.
Yeah, he's up into 3rd now. Jock Goodyear losing a bit of pace there in the mid-corner, back down to 3rd and getting pressured for this final spot. It's Goodyear versus Schultz versus Sadler for the last spot here, and Sadler trying his best to get up the inside.
Oh, contact.
Oh, yeah, John Schultz getting into the wall there, and he's now down at the back. Jock Goodyear getting into the wall briefly. That's going to hurt him a bit. But with that, checkered flag flies, and it is going to be John Schultz who is eliminated from this one. 5th place start for him. So now the grid goes to 4 cars. It's going to be 2v2 here. Jock Goodyear or Gavin Sadler may very well be in the box seat if Mr. Berkeley has not resolved his chassis stability issues. He does start on the pole, though, for this one. For this particular section of the pole shootout. They're all just testing how they get on the throttle for this last run. They know that this is where the money is made. Away they go then. And King with a good run there on the outside, but Berkeley through to the lead. Tries to keep it, but King through to the inside. Goodyear versus Sadler. Sadler gets up into 2nd briefly, but now fighting back again for 3rd with Goodyear. 1 lap to go. Will it be Jock Goodyear or Gavin Sadler who gets eliminated? Goodyear with an excellent run around the outside, but is it going to be enough? Yes, it is. He gets a great exit down and demotes Gavin Sadler. So Sadler starting from 4th place here, but a good measured drive from Goodyear to protect that. He gets a couple more chances.
Yeah, certainly a really, really good job there by Goodyear to just hold it around the outside, and brave risking putting it in the concrete wall to drive around the outside of Gavin Sadler. But back to Green Flag Racing, and another good jump from the car of Bob King, and Jock Goodyear just tapping the wall there, and Berkeley's in the wall.
Yeah, this is going to be on between Berkeley and Goodyear now. Goodyear sees the chance. He tries to go for the slide job. Trying his best to keep it out of the wall and failing. And he hits it again. Goodyear with a technical issue. This is side by side now. They're going to decide. Oh no! Goodyear gets into the wall and he spun. That's him done. And remember, Bob King fighting here with Joel Berkeley now for the pole. He would have been knocked out in the heats were it not for Tim Ryan's incident. So this is going to be a great turnaround for his night if he can get this done. 2 laps of racing then. Joel Berkeley versus Bob King for the pole position in the DM Cinematography Fairbury Brawl. Slide job central at the moment. Lap 1 completed. Berkeley will want to try and stay ahead of King, but he loses all the momentum there. King just has too much of a gap now, or does he? Berkeley tries one more slide job and spins at the final corner. Bob King is your pole sitter for the DM Cinematography Fairbury Brawl.
Yeah, really, really good drive, and a bit of luck as well for Bob there to put it on pole for the feature. But Berkeley and Goodyear won't be too unhappy with that 2nd and 3rd starting position, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't think he will, because remember, King has the right now to decide whether he starts on the inside or outside. If he chooses what Berkeley does not want, well, he's going to have a very difficult time coming up. Well, warm-up session is going to go live, and then we'll go live for a 40-lap A-main here at Fairbury Speedway. You're watching SimSpeed TV. This is the DM Cinematography Fairbury Brawl, round 4 of the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series. We'll be back in just a moment.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit crash sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Cronkite goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
I tried, there's contact though.
Slide left of the racetrack. Chris Leonard drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe. Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the Parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the Parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
It is time for the main event. This is the Fairbury Brawl presented by DM Simtography, round 4 of the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series. We've gone through the heats, we've gone through the alphabet, we've gone through the pole knockout, and now we go live for 40 laps around this very tight, very slippery quarter-mile Fairbury Speedway circuit. Once again, my name is Reese Gardner, and joining me in the commentary box, Cameron Dance. Cam, the imagery that we are seeing on screen right now shows that the drivers are going to have a very hard time in this A-main. Look at how slick that track is.
Yeah, it's might as well be a pavement oval at this point, but yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting race, this one, with how slick it is. So expect all sorts of slide jobs, a mixture of lines, and drivers really having to work the wheel and try and make sure they don't spin out. But that concrete wall has claimed a few victims tonight, and I'm not going to be surprised if it claims a few more in this A-main.
Yes, indeed. So the full grid has been decided. It's going to be Bob King on pole. Joel Berkeley joins him in second position. Jock Goodyear starts from third. Gavin Sadler joins him on the second row. John Schultz and Dale Jordison on the third row. And Danny Vassell and Travis Castagna in 7th and 8th. Matt Reed and Tim Ryan are going to be rounding out your top 10 for this one. What a field.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be quite the battle through the top 10 and even through the rest of the field as well. So going to be really looking forward to seeing what happens in this race and who's going to come out on top, especially without Bergeron in this one.
Yes, indeed. We can't forget that. Alex Bergeron, Tim Ryan's main rival and one of the challengers for the championship, knocked out through the alphabet, through the D main. So it's not going to be a fun time for him in the championship standings, but it certainly gives many other drivers a chance to get a leg up.
Yeah, it certainly does. And just seeing that Bob King has chosen the outside line to start on from pole. So quite a interesting choice that he's chosen, but nevertheless clearly is going to work for him.
Yeah, well, the drivers would have gotten a very long testing time in, and we are green now for the A main. And Berkeley tries to secure that P1, but there we go. That's why King took the outside. He's able to make that outside line with the inside exit work beautifully. All the drivers struggling for grip now on a very dusty Fairbury Speedway, and it's on for third place. Jock Goodyear versus Gavin Sadler. Oh, we got a car in the wall. big crash, and we have a caution. The car in question, Dale Jordison, finding the wall.
Yes, just made contact there with the car of, I believe it was Travis Castagna down the back straight, and then ended up clipping the wall as well. So really unfortunate for him there, but nevertheless, we've still got plenty of racing to go.
Yeah, there's a motive simulation replay there. It looks like Jordison actually got into the wall before the contact happened, and once he got there, just sitting, and Aston Hurley collecting him with pretty much nowhere to go for Aston. Here's the view from his perspective. Very stressful times in a big field of sprint cars. And bam, there you go. That came out of absolutely nowhere. Fortunately, Aston is able to keep going, but for Dale Jordison, it's looking doubtful. Dale Jordison has taken up the rear of the field, though. Looks like he is still able to continue as we go green in a corner's time. Bob King holding P1. He starts on the inside after this caution and securing the lead right away. Joel Berkeley, with nowhere to go, gets into the wall. He gets a good exit versus Jock Goodyear. Bit of single file running. Travis Castagna, you can see one of the drivers trying to make that inside line work.
Yeah, that inside line is clearly not quite got full potential yet, but some drivers trying to use it and see if it's got any sort of potential left in it, and can possibly have some car in the wall. Danny Vassell, by the looks of it, battling with Tim Ryan just further back for fourth position. Slide job from Tim Ryan to get into fourth place for the time being, but Jock Goodyear really starting to hound the back of his teammate Joel Berkeley.
Yes, indeed. These guys are looking quite pacey at the moment, up in the top three, breaking away from the rest of the field. Jock Goodyear would have wanted more after that pole knockout, so now he's trying to make it a possible 1-2 here for Slick Sim Sports with Joel Berkeley, but Bob King holding his own very nicely at the front of this field, and contact in the back, and the yellow flag is out. Car number 5. And it's Trent Gosling.
Yeah. Oh, and Caden Brainerd as well ended up getting collected by Trent Gosling when he came back down as well. So, unfortunately for Caden, he just barely tapped the wall, so he might have got away with that, only just.
Only just. Let's have a look at that. Again, Gosley just knocked there on the exit, had nowhere to go to get into the wall, and Caden Brown tagging him when he was in the middle of spinning. Here's the onboard. Down comes Gosley and just hits Brown's right rear. Fortunately, these sprint cars are pretty tough. They're easy to unsettle, but not so easy to completely total. So thank goodness for these guys. They're able to keep going.
Yeah, certainly. We've only had one... Well, we actually haven't needed any retirements yet so far, which is really, really good. So we've still got the full field out there on track and racing, but about to go green once again, and we are underway.
Yeah, and that was a great start there from Joel Berkeley, but Bob King coming up there and losing all momentum. Is coming together. Huge checkup, and the caution immediately came out as a result of that. So the guys have to spend another couple of laps behind the pace truck there, but that's resulted, I think, in a bit of a shuffle in the top 4.
Yeah, I think it has, and I believe... No, Tim Ryan hasn't actually lost anything out of that, so he's still in P4 after all that shuffling, but Castagna up to P2.
Yeah, Travis Castagna taking advantage of that. Here is a replay then of that restart. You see Tim Ryan trying to go there versus Jock Goodyear, and that failed slide job there ended up packing everybody into the same spot. So Tim Ryan coming out of that really well, but by the time the caution came out, Castagna had gotten up into second place.
Yeah, and unfortunately the caution did fall before they did cross the line, so unfortunately he will lose out there, and I believe Bob King will get promoted back up to third place, so just lucky enough. But at the moment, Slick Sim Sport 1-2.
And that's what they'll want as they go green again. It's a big jump there from Joel Berkeley. Tim Ryan trying to make a pass there on Jock Goodyear. But you see a lot of drivers trying to hold that outside line, and have a look at the amount of sliding you see going on down the straights. This is about 700, 800 horsepower being put down by these 360 sprint cars. And I look at Ryan down there on the bottom. It doesn't look like the bottom's working very well at the moment.
Yeah, it just looks like there's no moisture left down there. But, oh, big shunt further back. Caden Brown in the wall and upside down in turn 4.
Yeah, and yellow hasn't been brought out yet. Down goes Caden Brown to the inside. We stay green. So Caden Brown, first driver to retire from this A main. Trent Gosley trying to make tracks on Tim Ryan as there was some briefly 4-wide racing in the background. The back half of this field is absolutely packed. Matt Reed holding off the likes of Dylan DeBono, Aston Hurley and others. Thomas Mitchell spinning, but he gets going again and gets it off the circuit. And, oh, another car actually off the circuit as well. Not quite sure who that was. Matt Reed with some troubles. But it's staying stable up the top for now. Bob King, pressure from Tim Ryan now, just getting into the wall. Ryan tries the slide job. Can King come back at him? Yes, he can. And these guys are just slowing each other up now.
So now King's in the wall.
Oh! Well, there we go. King down out of the top 3 now, and it's Tim Ryan out in front. Danny Vassell trying his best to stay with him, but King's starting to come back.
Certainly is, but possibly got some damage on that car after hitting the wall. It wasn't a soft hit, so might be struggling a little bit, but starting to really recover at the moment. Car upside down.
Oh, John Schultz managed to get himself back on to all 4 wheels and keep going. We stay caution-free, amazingly enough. But there's big fighting going on for the final few positions in the top 10. Trent Gosley up ahead of all of these guys. And Gavin Sadler, Aston Hurley fighting super hard. But we continue to look at King and Vassell fighting for 4th and 5th position now. This is looking very close between these guys, but you can see a very narrow line. And if Vassell tries the slide job, there is no guarantee that it's going to work.
Yes, certainly. And we've seen on a few occasions that it hasn't quite paid off, but 20 to go at the moment, so pretty much halfway. And Tim Ryan's on the wall!
Oh no! Tim Ryan on his roof! We will have to get a replay of that one, because he was working his way up beautifully. Looks like, thanks to modem simulation, he was running that high line as much as he possibly could. Doesn't look to me like it was any contact with another car. Yeah, the right side wheel just rode up, and from then on, you know, wheels are off the ground. It means you can't steer. So Tim Ryan all the way back in the field now. He's got a lot of work to do with half the race still to run.
Yeah, I think that car's going to be in pit lane for some time by the looks of it with the damage that he might have received. But yeah, really unfortunate for Tim there with the result that he could have possibly had. But that has promoted Bob King into the podium once again, and Danny Vassell on for a shot as well.
Yes, indeed. We're seeing a very mixed up top half of the grid that we weren't quite going to expect coming into this round. But Slick Sim Sports are still running 1 and 2. Joel Berkeley and Jock Goodyear up on the front row of this one. How will they manage this final half of the race? We go green once again. Joel Berkeley assuming the lead. And Bob King slotting himself into P3. Looks like the Slick teammates trying to stay together as much as they can. And Danny Vassell getting into the wall, losing a few spots out of that.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh dear, King and Goodyear coming together there. So Bob King now up into 2nd place. Travis Castagna slides his way up into 3rd. And have a look at Jock Goodyear versus Danny Vassell down the front straight. They were locking wheels briefly. But it looks to me like Travis Castagna has managed to get himself clear of all of this.
Yeah, he certainly has. And on for a podium at this point. Will be his best result of the season so far. But slide job from Jock Goodyear to move up there. Not quite going to get it done. A little bit of contact with car of Danny Vassell on a big slide job from the car of leader Zachary Fallon.
Yeah, goodness me, Zach Fallon. You know, that's demonstrating how slick the track is at the moment as we see a car around almost in the background. Trent Gosley tried the slide job there. But once you try the slide job, there's no recovering that front end of the car. The rear just swings round.
Yeah, there's not a lot of grip out there. You can just see it mega slick at the moment. There's no moisture whatsoever left, and it's just all about keeping it out at the outside wall and also feathering that throttle so you don't spin the wheels up. So it's really difficult for drivers at the time being, but Zach Fallon is coming to put pressure on Danny Vassal with a slide job, but Vassal going to come back at him out of turn number 4, and Jock Goodyear straight on by Fallon as well, but Goodyear in the wall.
Yeah, Goodyear's not having a great time there, and oh my goodness, there we go. Spin for Jock Goodyear, and the caution flag is out. So Goodyear's night has gone from great to absolutely awful. Slick Sim Sports were 1-2, but Goodyear slipping down into the lower reaches of the top 4. Here's another look at that incident. So Goodyear goes for the slide job out of this one, but gets up into the wall, and once he's up there, he is unable to get out. Actually gets tagged by another car, which sends him the other way. That's very unfortunate.
It certainly is. He will be very disappointed with that moment that he's had there, and will hurt him quite a bit in the points as well. So not really going to be all that happy, but nevertheless, we'll be back next week to try and recover some sort of result.
So Joel Berkeley still leads as we will have 12 laps to go when we go green. This is Joel Berkeley's best chance yet for a feature win this season. The main competitors are all out, so it's a very good chance for many of these guys to vault themselves up into the standings. Outside the top 4, Zach Fellin and Hayden Veld we can watch as well. They'll be on for a good result here too. So not as many cars left in the field now as there were at the start of this one, but we've still got a good race left to run. They are off once again. Joel Berkeley protecting the lead from Bob King. It's on for 3rd place between Danny Vassal and Travis Castagna. Castagna almost interlocking wheels with Vassal as they come through turns 3 and 4, but it looks like Vassal has the run on the outside. Now Castagna under pressure from Hayden Veld. They make contact. Castagna around. The caution is out again.
Yeah, I don't think Veld really could have done much different there. He just didn't really have anywhere to go. So unfortunate there for the car of Castagna to end up getting turned there, but nevertheless, it's a little bit of a shame there.
Yeah, you'll see the onboard view here from Hayden Veld, and you'll see Vassal get a slow run through the middle of the corner, just rips up, and at that point, Veld already had his trajectory sorted. There wasn't much he could do from that point. So another unfortunate incident between those guys, but Castagna has stayed running, and he's going to get back up into a top 6, top 7 starting position. So he hasn't lost much out of that.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't. So he will try to recover something out of it, but he'll still be disappointed regardless.
When we go green, it will be 10 laps to go in this race. Not much time left for the drivers to sort themselves out. Currently in the box seat, it remains Joel Berkeley, but Bob King has been pressuring him the whole time, and he's not afraid to run a slide job. Going green again, it's going to be, I think, a single file restart because it's less than 10 laps to go, but that will be up to administrator discretion. It looks like we are going single file for this restart. Pace truck is in, and Joel Berkeley is going to have one of the easiest times getting a start yet tonight. So it's a nice clean start all round. And it looks like Berkeley already starting to gap King. He's wasting no time getting that done. King's starting to come under pressure from Vassal for 2nd place. What about the likes of Trent Gosley? What can he do from 6th place? He's chasing down Hayden Veld. This looks like a gap eventuating between them. Zach Fellin starting to catch up to Vassal and King. It might be on here for 2nd place, as noticing Berkeley has lost some pace as well. That's a pass potentially between Aston Hurley and Gavin Sadler. Sadler barely just recovering it. He lost it big time, but he manages to keep going. Time running out though. We're only going to have 6 laps to go at the line.
Yeah, Bob King really starting to pressure the car of Berkeley for the time being, but there's not going to be a lot of racetrack left at this stage to try and make a move. He's looking every which way to see if he can do anything. 5 to go this time by, but they're just running the cushion because there's just so much grip up there, and Bob King with a big slide job up
hits the
inside.
tyre.
Oh.
Oh, goodness me. That could have been an amazing move there by King, but he ended up losing out quite a bit from that. The drivers need to watch out for those tyres down there on the berm. King has now lost second place to Danny Vassal, and he's going to be his main focus if he can keep it going. Almost coming together there with Zachary Fallon.
Bob King looting up in the wall as well.
Oh!
Gosley's around in the background.
And the caution is out. Oh man, Trent Gosley and Hayden Veld coming together, and after the run that we saw Gosley have, that would have been a fantastic result for him, but it looks like it might have just all gone down at the final hurdle. Here's another view of it as he battles Hayden Veld. You'll notice they come together at the exit of turn 4. Gosley tries the slide job on Veld. Veld is still there though. They make contact, and from then on, well, all they could do was bounce off each other.
Yeah, certainly. It's a shame for both Veld and Gosley, as they were doing actually really, really well leading up until that incident. So a bit unfortunate for them. But at the moment, it's going to be all about what's going to happen out front, because Vassal and King have shown some pretty good pace, and Berkeley's been under a lot of pressure from those two in these last few laps.
Yeah, he certainly has. As we cross the line, it's going to be 2 laps to go, and it's going to be a great finish here at Fairbury Speedway. Joel Berkeley has managed to hold on to that top position all the way through this long, difficult A-main. And he gets one more chance here to secure it. There goes King, trying to go for second versus Vassal. They make contact. King not able to do anything for the moment. And as we come around, it's the last lap. A couple of cars getting into the wall in the background, but it looks like passes won't be made unless there's a huge amount of courage. And it does look like he's going to do it there. Joel Berkeley holding it off.
Oh, crash across the line.
Oh yeah, huge crash across the line. Plenty of cars involved in that one. Looks like it was Devin Butts and Gavin Sadler coming together at the end of that.
Yeah, Trent Gosley involved in that little battle as well, and he just managed to edge those two out for 6th position.
Well, that's the end of it then. And Joel Berkeley is going to be one happy guy out of all of this. He's worked hard throughout the first few rounds of this series. We get a modem simulation replay of that finish line crash. It looks like a couple of things were happening at once there. Gosley lucky to get away with that one, but Devin Butts absolutely got smashed.
Yeah, he certainly ended up in a peculiar position to finish that race, but regardless, he still managed to finish, so he can't be too displeased, and even the top 10 as well.
Indeed. So your final race results, Joel Berkeley taking that win there from Danny Vassal, Bob King finishing in 3rd place at the end, Zachary Fallon holding on for 4th. Completing the top 5 was Aston Hurley. Hayden Veld holding on for position 6. Devin Butts just managing to pip at the line. So there we go. That's all she wrote from Fairbury Speedway, and we'll be coming to our driver interviews very shortly, and by very shortly, I mean right now. Welcome to the commentary box, race winner Joel Berkeley. That's your first feature win of the season, but it came at a very tough track.
Yeah, it feels like been a long time since I've been talked to for winning a race. Been washed up for a while, but yeah, it's good. It was a tough race, that's for sure. Fairbury is, I don't know, the toughest track out here, regardless of what track state it is. It's always going to be a challenge to get around, and yeah.
It was a great result, obviously, for Slick Sim Sports, and you guys were running 1-2 at one point, but Jock, unfortunately, coming into issues. How much coordination did you guys have going into the A main? Was the 1-2 always the aim?
Oh, of course that's always the aim, but if you want me to be honest with coordination, one of them, I'll tell you, is one of them green flag runs were behind Bob, and we're cornering to pull a double slider in turn 3 and 4 to try and break his momentum. But the yellow come out as we're going to do it, so that didn't really work, and we didn't get another chance. So yeah.
Oh, well, ultimately managing to come away with the win, which is certainly going to help you in terms of the championship standings, especially with the likes of Tim Ryan and Alex Bergeron not being able to get through.
Yeah, I just did what I did, and I mean, I absolutely was. What's the easiest way to put it? Sucked in qualifying. I just don't like the 0% track states, and it is what it is. But yeah, I've got the invert, which isn't really the best because you lose qualifying points. But I mean, got the heat win and then start up the pointy end, and just thought I'd look after stuff for 40 laps, and well, we got the job on, and it should help out a lot of points because I think Harry Bergeron and I think someone else didn't even make the feature. So yeah, it's good.
It certainly is. Before we let you go, Joel Berkeley, who would you like to thank? Shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you at Slick Sim Sports?
Yeah, look, it's a massive thanks to the guys back at Slick. We've been putting in a lot of time into sprint cars with the Sprintcar Pro. Like, I wasn't putting much time into it as a recent with the sprint cars, but obviously I got the last minute call up, so I had to go and go and do it. But all the guys that raced tonight, Lewis and Hayden Cardwell for the spot there in the feature, and yeah, it was finally good to actually get a win for once. It seems forever.
Well, hopefully it's not too long before you get your next one. Joel Berkeley, your race winner here tonight at Fairbury Speedway. Our second place finisher, on the other hand, Cam, was Danny Vassell. You stood by with him.
Yes, certainly. Second place in the feature here tonight, Danny. You can't be too displeased with that.
Nah, pretty stoked. Been struggling the last few weeks in this event. Sort of turned around last week, but yeah, it was good to have pace back on the little track. So yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, with it being quite a short track, did you actually find it was going to slick up this bad, or did you expect it to be a little bit more multi-lined where you had people on the bottom and through the middle sort of thing?
I suppose that's the beauty of dirt racing. You never know what you're going to get with the track. It's the same for everyone. It's just how you adapt to it, I suppose. So yeah, whatever they dish up, just try and do it.
Well, with Knoxville next up on the calendar, looking forward to it?
Yeah, always looking forward to getting back in the car.
Well, before we let go, just any shout outs and sponsors you want to give any thanks to?
Yeah, thanks to Trent and our team. He works hard with these setups, and he's gave us a rocket tonight. WP Concrete and Snap-on Tools Blacktown, Aussie Signs Designs, Andrews Crane Hire, Auto Kings, and Virtual.
Well, there you go, Reese, your second place finisher, and I believe you'll stand by with our third place finisher, Bob King.
Indeed, I am. Welcome to the commentary box, Bob. And wow, what a night for you. If it weren't for Tim Ryan's incident in the heats, you wouldn't have even been in the A main. So that's a great turnaround for your night.
What was that? Sorry. Anyway, not pretty happy with the result. Had some frame drops tonight, but I'm happy to actually manage to finish the race third.
Yeah, well, it looked like your battle with Joel Berkeley for those top two spots was quite the incredible one. How were you finding the track as it went on through the night? Because Fairbury is known for being quite a difficult track as it is.
Yeah, it is quite difficult. The walls are a bit tricky up the top. Had some pretty good speed early on, but the track seemed to come to me. Probably had something for Joel, but a couple of mistakes, and yeah, just didn't play.
Well, at the end of it, you do come home with a podium position, and that's definitely going to help you vault up in the standings. And with a long season still to go, and only round 4, baby steps.
Yeah, no, we're just going to be jumping in for a few rounds here and there in between race control. So just have a bit of fun and see.
Knoxville's coming up next, sprint car capital of the world. How much are you looking forward to the 360 Power Series going there?
I mean, it puts on some fantastic racing. It's not actually one of my favourite tracks, but always a good standpoint for spectators, and hopefully we get some.
And before we let you go, Bob, shout outs and sponsors. Who gets it done for you?
Mainly the guys over at Synergy Sim Racing, the Speedway Shop, Newline Oils, and BK.
Bob King there, third place finisher and part of race control for the ODSE 360 Power Series. Thanks for joining us, guys, and congratulations on your results. Well, Cam, that brings to an end proceedings for tonight. Round 4 of the championship, turning it up again. And, well, especially up the top, things are already starting to get turned upside down with Bergeron, Stewart, Ryan all having bad nights.
Yes, certainly. It's been a big shake-up in points with drivers not making the A main and also drivers also crashing out. So, yeah, going to be quite fascinating to see what happens at Knoxville and who comes out on top there.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of, that's going to be this time next week. We're racing at Knoxville for round 5 of the 360 Power Series, and we hope that you join us here on SimSpeed TV for that. We want to thank all of our sponsors and supporters that you can see at the bottom of the screen. We want to thank DM Simtography for supporting the Fairbury Brawl. Remember, check out DM Simtography on Facebook a few days after, and you'll be able to see some of the best action shots from this past round. And it's happening for every round of the series, so you can get your photo fix there. That's the end of it tonight. My name is Reese Gardner, Cameron Dance joining me in the commentary box, and Jay Kennedy on cameras. This round of the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series was certainly one to watch. What will happen when we get to Knoxville? Find out next week.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's going the outside of both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?